Dan, do you want to take us from the beginning then, when you were growing up?
Yeah, so born in 1975. I grew up in Manchester. Council estate, you know. Come from a place called Middleton, Langley. Come from the same council estate as Fuseley, Lee Rigby.
Okay.
And Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes.
Oh, was he? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he comes from Langley as well. So yeah, I was brought up. My mum and dad split when I was young. About 5.
How many children? How many?
At the time, so I had an older sister. He passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she passed away before I was born. But I was the eldest to my mum and dad at the time. There was 3 of us. So his younger brother Dennis and my sister Alicia. And I remember him breaking up when I was young, about 4 or 5. I remember being took into care. My dad come and get him. I think my mum was suffering with mental health problems, postnatal depression and stuff like that.
Did you keep in contact with your mum?
No, when my mum and dad split up, I didn't. From the age, I think it was about 7. I didn't see my mum till I was about 14.
Okay.
So I was brought with my dad really.
And what your parents now, are they?
Yeah, they're both still alive.
Oh, okay.
My dad used to give me the belt as a kid, you know.
Keep you in order.
Yeah, he kept me in order, all right. But that's like, do you know what? I just look at it as that was the way it was back in the day, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you were running around the estate. You were just one of the kids on the estate.
One of the kids on the estate. But one of the things that I do remember was my dad used to say to me, "Go upstairs and pick the belt," and he'd have like all different types of belts.
He'd make you get your own whacker.
And I remember going upstairs once and I hid all the belts. I come downstairs and I can't find one. I said, "I can't find one, Dad." And he ran upstairs. And we had one of them cheese plants. And you know the bamboo stick?
Yeah.
He pulled that out. That hurt more than any belt.
So the belts went back.
The belts went, I found them all. But yeah, and I remember one time, so what he'd say to us, right, me and my brother, our kid Dennis, and they'd go, right, own up to it. Whoever done something like own up to it. Yeah. It's better that you both don't get the belt. Be a man and own up to it. Yeah. And I remember going upstairs, and I could hear the door open downstairs, and I remember saying to our kid, I said, "Our kid, why are you getting me in trouble? You know, why you just own up to it?" You know. Next thing, my dad runs upstairs like a madman, drags my brother out of the bedroom. Yeah. I could hear him getting the belt. Do you know what I mean? And
that's a very, very cunning thing to do.
I've done it. Yeah. It's the only one of them things like you.
It's something you remember.
You remember, and you have guilt for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had guilt for that. Still do now. Do you know what I mean? But at the time I was like, thank God it's not me.
But you said were you in the cadets then before you went in the army?
I joined the cadets. So my dad remarried, had a few more kids. To Mary, who's like my stepmom, and her brother, he just passed away recently, in Colantona.
Okay.
He was in the King's Own Royal Border.
Oh, okay.
So, and I had a few of my stepmom's brothers were in the military, so I used to go to up to Catterick.
So that's a bit of an influence on you.
It was, you know. I remember looking through the fence, and as a kid you're looking through the fence and you see all the soldiers and you see the tanks and you're like, and I used to look up to them, and then I joined the cadets. I didn't last that long, a couple of years I think. But my uncle he taught me how to iron, you know, because he was ex-military, and teach me how to iron my lightweights at the time, and. But yeah, I remember the camps that I used to go away with the cadets. I used to love them, you know, at the time. And being in the 80s, the A-team was out then. So he used to go and play in the woods and all that. He used to go and play armour, get your sticks, pretend you got a pretend machine gun. But yeah.
And then that will become real for you?
Yeah, it did. It did become real for me, yeah.
Well, so you're at school, you decided the military's for you?
School wasn't for me. School wasn't for me. And I think it's understanding what you are. You know, a lot of it's
Yeah.
pushed onto education, and I think I sort of lacked a little bit in my education side. I don't know why, but you know, I used to be boarding school, and I classed myself more of a skilled worker, you know, rather than an academic person.
Yeah.
But I left school with no qualifications. You know, when I got a job, I'd rather be earning money than sat in a classroom. So when I got a job at 15,
Yeah.
I left school a year early, and I was working, and I was doing okay for myself. Working, well, I thought I was doing okay.
Yeah.
I was doing better than the other school kids. But yeah,
You had money in your you had money in your pocket, and you were working now, so
Yeah, I was
you're a bit
working.
more.
I was working.
So when did you decide to go in the army?
I wanted to go in the army when I was 16, but I got into a relationship, and the person that I was with at the time said, if you join the military, that's the end of us.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't join, but I joined the army in my early 20s.
Okay.
But I always had that desire to join the army. I always wanted to join the army, like I've done from being 16. It was like, it's just something that I always wanted to do. You know, like I always had that burning desire from being a kid. And then I just said to her, I said, listen, I'd had 3 kids at the time. I said, I'm joining. You know, and I said, if you want to leave, but I'm joining the military. I want to get away. I said, but this is going to be a better life, not just for you, but for my kids that I had at the time. So I joined the military. I was joining a parachute regiment, but my uncle at the time, his best mate was a guy called Baz Barsley, and he used to be 2-para, and he used to have his own gym in Manchester. And at one point, he was one of the most decorated soldiers in the British Army. But I didn't know that at the time because I wasn't in the military. I just knew his ex-parachute regiment. And he said to me, he said, don't join the parachute regiment. Go in as like, go and join 7-para or go and join 9 squadron. So I took his advice. Went back to the careers office and said, I don't want to join the parachute regiment, no, the infantry side.
Yeah.
I want to go 7-para. And I went and joined the Royal Artillery.
Right.
And that's what I done. Got best recruit. And then when I was going through training, I seen an instructor with a maroon beret and a Royal Artillery cap badge. And I said, what do you do? He said, we're air defence. He said, we're based on Thorney Island, airborne gunners. He said, but instead of being on the guns, he said, we're on the air defence side of it. And he sold it to me.
Right. Okay.
And I went, that's where I want to go. So that's where I did go because I got best recruit, I got the choice. And I went down to Thorney Island.
And that's when it all started for you.
Yeah.
Take us through your career then. Where did you started off, and then where did you end? Where did you serve in?
So the first place I went to, I got to my regiment, and went to my battery, 2-1 battery. Got on with all the lads, and because I wanted to become a para, I went and done the All Arms P Company. So I had to do the beat up for that. I remember when I first started the beat up. Oh, it was hard. We had this. No, it turned out one of my best mates, but the PT at the time, he was doing all the screening. He took us out. He beasted us.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Got ourselves ready. So I'd done the brigade screening for it, and then I ended up going to up to Catterick to do the All Arms P Company. That was hard. Do you know?
Yeah.
It was. I just remember just stuck with it. You know, you have to put your head down and just get on with it, and that's what I've done. And what I used to do at the time when I was doing P Company, I used to think, well, if I come back each day and I'm still there.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
I used to do it a day at a time.
Yeah, such an achievement to do all that and get through it all.
Yeah, so I passed that. I went back to my regiment, then went down to Bryce Norton for my jumps course. So I went to number 1 parachute school and done my jumps course at Bryce Norton. Then I was back to my regiment and I had my set of wings on. So I used to have my wings, my marine machine, and
It's brilliant.
I was loving it, yeah.
Yeah. And then everything's going smoothly, and then where's your first sort of commission? Where'd you go first?
I think I went to Canada. Went to Spain, went to Canada. Spent some time in Canada, out in the prairie. Come back, I think, went Kenya. Kenya was good. Went Afghanistan. come back from Afghanistan, I went to Cyprus on a United Nations tour. And when I was in Cyprus, I started having mental problems, and I started turning to drink quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then I reported it that I was having no drinking problems. Went to the med centre. I said, I don't know what's wrong with me, but then I come back and I was becoming a distant person.
Why did you think that started? What happened in Afghanistan or anything like that? Nothing to sort of trigger anything?
I don't know what it was. But I just became distant. I didn't want to be there. I didn't know I was drinking. I started drinking in my house. I was like sitting in a dark room. I was putting myself away from the kids and the noise.
Yeah.
And
because you're sort of married at this stage and you've got a family.
I was married at the time, and I just didn't like the noise, the children, all the screaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I went to the med centre, and they ended up referring me to no psychiatric unit. Then I got deferred up to Catterick, where I spent a few weeks, 3-4 weeks, as an inpatient there. And then I got discharged from the military, and they said to me, they went, right, if you need any support, when you get out, go and see your GP. So 1 minute I was in the military, next minute I'm out.
That's amazing.
And I was having problems. I just carried on from when I was in the military. I was still drinking, and ended up taking drugs, ended up becoming homeless, ended up becoming a distant father to my kids. My marriage broke down, and I didn't want to be here. I did not want to be here.
It's amazing how you've gone from that so proud moment of getting your wings, being in the army, being in the parachute, doing all that training, to that. It's sort of, what's the middle bit? What triggered it? Just life.
It's life.
Yeah.
And,
you can't put it down to anything. You can't say when I was in Afghanistan this happened. It didn't. It just literally you just felt distant and things changed for you.
Mm-hmm. But it's just one of them things, and so I come out. My head was all over the place. I didn't have a job. I was just drinking at the night just to get through the night. And I used to wake up in the day thinking that thank God I got through that night.
Yeah.
And sometimes I used to wake up in the middle of the night, and I'd go straight to the cupboard, I was drinking a lot of wine at the time, and I'd just fill it up and I'd just drink it just to just to
numb everything.
Everything, yeah. And then I didn't want to be here, And like I said, I would not, that part of my life, I would not wish on my own worst enemy.
Yeah. That feeling of how you felt at that time.
Honest to God, it was the worst experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was lost. I was isolated. I couldn't really talk to anyone. I was crying out for help. I was going to the GP. I even went to seeing some religious people.
Oh, okay.
I was
so just searching out for.
I was trying to get help. And one thing I do think that might have had an effect on me was I took that Lariam, which is anti-malaria tablet, which I didn't know at the time, but later on,
you feel that had some effect.
I got compensation for taking that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Have other people had similar experiences?
Yeah. So the side effects that it can cause you, and I was given it at the time.
Okay.
So I used a solicitor, and I got paid out for it, and I think that played a major part on
on your health.
100%. So
your life now has taken a turn. You're out of the army. You're drinking heavily. You've lost your family, and now. What's happened at this point? You've got involved in other...
Yeah, I got involved in criminality.
How did you get involved?
Well, coming from a council estate, being ex-military, you got skills that serve the underworld, should I say.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had skills that served the underworld, and I got involved in organised crime.
And that was with people you've known growing up, or just...
Bits and not, we live in the real world. You know, if you get involved in, criminality,
it leads on very quickly.
Of course it does, and obviously, because our military, not my military background,
it served you well in doing.
Like to say that you're providing a professional service to the underworld,
Yeah.
So I got involved in that, and at the time, I didn't care. When I didn't want to live, I didn't care.
So you still felt really sort of depressed and down at that point where you're doing this
Yeah, I was.
criminality?
I was just looking at like get some money, you know, get me drink, get me drugs. Did not care. I wasn't living a functional life. Do you know what I mean? Every day was just it was horrible.
How long was that going on for?
2.5 years from leaving the military.
And did it get heavier
Yeah.
as you went on?
Yep.
And where did it all suddenly end?
When I got sent to prison.
And how did that come about?
So, like I said, I got involved in criminality. I ended up getting done, you know, for a crime. And I got involved in the wrong crowd. And I got a sentence. And it was actually going to prison that actually saved my life.
Okay.
Because combat stress got involved with me. I realised that I wasn't mental.
Yeah.
I got the support that I needed. Went on some medication at the time. And it was being in prison, no, like, I felt like I got the support that I should have got after leaving the military.
So you got support from the prison service, not from the military?
Yes. So I feel like I got the support from being from the prison service that I should have got when leaving the military.
When leaving the military.
Yeah.
What would you just, before we go on to your prison stuff, what do you think the military should have done at that point that would have probably helped you?
It might be better now, but at the time, I think they should have made sure that there's aftercare.
Yeah.
Not just you go and see your GP. I think they should make appointments for you to make sure that you are getting your care, like, that you do turn up, not they are.
Should there be a military medical, not just go to your local GP?
I don't know. I think there should be more. Yeah, should be. So there should be more.
Because then they've got an understanding of the.
I think anyone who's leaving the armed forces, at least 12 months, the military should take care. All right, they've not. The class as like civilian back to civilian, but I think there should be aftercare of 12 months from the military, to make sure that they're integrated, making sure that
they're ready to be released almost.
Well, they
isn't
are
it?
released, but they're still given that. They should get the aftercare.
Yeah.
I believe that they should do that, and I believe this as well. No, I'll wait because I'm going to step.
Yeah.
I'm going to step out too far ahead. I'll wait, but I believe that should happen.
Yeah. Well. So, would you say at that point when you were going into prison, you were still drinking heavily, almost like an alcoholic?
I was an alcoholic.
You was an alcoholic at that point.
I was an alcoholic and a drug abuser.
Yeah.
The
criminality is all part of the drinking, the drugs.
Everything.
It's all part of that.
Yeah. When I look back and I think, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
That person was not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't care. Didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I look back at it, and I class myself fortunate to be here.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people haven't come out.
Absolutely.
They haven't come out the other side.
Yeah. Well, you've had friends who haven't come out the other side.
Yes.
So.
Do you know what I mean? They haven't come out the other side. So I am fortunate, and I'm lucky to be here because I'm fortunate to be here today.
So going to prison for you, to be honest, it changed you and saved your life.
It saved my life. It put me on the road to recovery.
Yeah, it's good because a lot of people get a bad press about the prison in the way of not giving people support, but you're saying it does give you support.
It does, It does give you support, And I always say this as well. Prison is like the military. You're a number in the military, you're a number in prison. Do you know what I mean? And you've got the same routine, and prison gives you structure, it gives you the routine, and it's the same every day.
And how did that, you obviously went into prison for a reasonable amount of time. Stage one in the prison when you first went in, was you looking to give up drinking, or did that take time?
Got no choice.
Yeah, you got no choice, absolutely.
You got no choice, but you got no choice. So when I got locked up, they put me on some tablets because I was a heavy drinker.
Okay.
I identified I had a problem. I started getting psychological help, straight away from them. I spent 12 months on remand. I was up in Ballina in Scotland, and then I got sentenced. I went to my prison, and I was just thinking, this is my life here, But it was okay. I got a job.
Was you the only one of the group that you were involved with who went to prison?
No.
But you wasn't in prison with those people?
One of them.
One of them, yeah.
But so I'd done my prison sentence. It wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't hard. It was harder for my children.
Yeah, cool.
It was harder for people that you leave outside. It's to me. I always say it's easy for the person who's in prison.
Yeah.
But you see all different walks of life in prison.
Yeah.
I've seen people that they get sent to a few weeks. They go out, have a drink.
They're back again.
They're back in, and that's their cycle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they've got a better life in prison
Yeah.
than what they have outside. And I used to say to them, why don't you go and commit a crime that...
We'll give you a bigger sentence and you'll get cured.
And you go, no, we don't want that, because we
Yeah.
like coming in for like a dry out or
A little break.
or to get themselves locked up over the winter months.
Yeah.
You know, like, so they've got...
Is that a failing on the prison then?
No, it's a failing on society, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not a prison. If we live in a society where someone would rather go spend the winter in prison
Yeah.
than be outside.
That's not good, is it?
No, I think the society is letting people down, isn't it?
Definitely.
You know, the Western, I know it's Western culture, but we're letting...
Yeah.
It's just the way some people have turned out.
And what stages in the prison sentence did you feel you're getting ready to come out and you're going to have a different life, or did you not feel that till you actually were released?
No, I knew. And I'd say about halfway through, you know, I had it in my head. I wanted to come out. I wanted to live again. I wanted to rebuild my life. I ended up spending 2 months in open prison, where I was working as a truck driver. And I knew I was coming out to be a dad to my kids again. You know, I wanted to live my life. I wanted to rebuild my life. And I was going to live my life again, you know. And I felt like I was back to the Darren Wright of the person I am before I joined the military. Before, you know...
Do you think not drinking had a massive effect on that? Did your thinking change when you stopped drinking?
No.
No.
I just think that I got the help that I needed, because I come out afterwards and had a drink. You know,
okay. So you didn't come out and not drink. You had a few drinks, but then...
I had a few drinks, like socialising drinks.
Yeah.
Like I used to go out with my partner at the time. We'd go to a few, you know, like, go out have a drink together, or we'd go to a house party, you know, like, used to go out...
But it was nowhere near what you were doing before.
Not drinking to, like, just to get by or to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just social drinking.
Social drinking, yeah.
That's good. But it's amazing how you can sort of like manage it rather than not drink at all.
But there's a difference in there.
Yeah.
When you're drinking because you're self-medicating, you know,
yeah,
you're self-medicating yourself. I was never an alcoholic. I wasn't a drinker before the military. You know, I'm not a drinker now. You know, and at the time I was self-medicating.
Yeah. So you're using drink as a medication.
Yeah.
Basically, Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that. So now you're coming out of prison.
Yeah, come out of prison. I had my HGV licence. I was going to get a job, and I did get a job. Remember, the probation officer said, you won't get a job. And
because of your sentence?
Because of my sentence. Yeah. And I went, oh well. And I don't think she's used to dealing with people who got a HGV licence.
Right.
She's probably used to people coming out, they haven't got a trade, they haven't got a skill. No, they might find it difficult. So I gave it a week. I could have got a job straight away, but I phoned up an agency, told them my circumstances, told them that I'd just come out of prison. And I said, I need a job. And I told them that my probation officer would be contacting them. So they went, no problem. So within a week of coming out,
you're working.
I was working.
Things are changing straight away for you.
I was back part of society, which was like I was grateful for. You know, I had the freedom. I enjoyed driving a truck. I was part of back of society.
What about accommodation? Where did you go?
I went and stayed with me. So when I was coming out of prison the last 12 months, I met a new partner.
Okay.
And her parents put me up when I first left.
They supported you when you come out. What would the situation be if you didn't have that support? Would you get support from the...
I think you go into these accommodations that they give you.
Until they get something.
Until you get something. But I was fortunate to have, like, the partner at the time.
Yeah.
Her parents put me up.
Yeah.
So I went to stay with them, and then I got a job. She was working, and together we went and rented a place together.
Right. So now you're working, you're feeling happy. Where's all the change come for you with the veterans? So
I was working as a truck driver, and I was released from prison in the back end of 2012. And then I was a truck driver. I went on to become a fuel tanker driver. So something that I always wanted to do was get to the top in the industry. And in the industry, the class of being a petrol tanker driver is the top position you can get in truck driving.
Okay.
So in my head, I wanted to get there.
And you did?
I did.
How long did that take?
About 2-3 years of leaving.
Okay. Right.
About 2-3 years of leaving from when I come out of prison. You can't just get, I want to become a petrol tanker driver. So I used to speak to other drivers who were petrol tanker drivers, and I used to say, how did you get here? And one of them said to me, I went on to the lubes. So lubes is like delivering oil. He said I went delivering oil, got me experience. Some people go like onto water tankers, any type of tanker work, but not petrol. So I said, right, okay. So I went and got myself a job delivering oil. So I went down that route.
Is it different driving tankers with obviously oil and things like to driving a normal truck?
Yeah, of course it is, because there's loads of different types of driving, HGV driving jobs. But when you're delivering like fuel, it's a liquid, so it's different to being normal general haulage. You're in charge of loading it. You're in charge of. There's a lot that you have to learn about the job, like the ullages, the capacity it can have. When you go to the site, you're delivering into tanks. Is there enough capacity into it before you start, like unloading, the vehicle? So, like I said, I started on the oil. I went and done my PDP, which is Petroleum Driver's Passport. And then what I done then was I went and applied for a job with DHL being a Morrison's petrol tanker driver.
Okay.
I got that job. The money was really good. I was working a 4-on 4-off shift. I was on a basic 52 grand a year. And I was doing that, and I was happy with doing that. I'd reached the level where I wanted to be. Like I said, I always wanted to be a fuel tanker driver.
It's a massive change from where you were now. You're back in society. You've got a good job.
Got a good job.
I
was on good money. I was on the same wage as a head teacher, a school teacher, head teacher. But I didn't have to deal with Ofsted. Didn't have to deal with kids, parents. I didn't have to deal. No, there's a lot that I didn't have to deal with. I just had to go and deliver fuel. And I used to think to myself at the time, not bad for a kid who come from a council estate and left school with no qualifications. Yeah. So I was happy doing that. And then in 2018, I get a phone call out of the blue. And it was one of them phone calls that you get, have you heard about such a body? And it was from one of my old army friends, and he said to me, have you heard about Jamie Doyle? So I went, no. And I knew I was going to get, because when them phone calls lead to. And he said to me, he's been found dead this morning. So Jamie's a person that I served in the military with. He was a top mate. And I'd only spoke to him 2 weeks prior.
Oh, so you were still in contact with him? Yeah.
Not meeting up, but phone call, text message, And he used to write to me when I was in prison.
Oh, okay.
So he kept in touch with me in prison, whether he was in Afghanistan or Iraq.
He was still serving then?
Yeah, he was serving. And he kept in contact with me. He was one of my friends, even though I was in prison, he kept in touch with me. And he's a big Liverpool fan. He came from a big Liverpool Irish family. And so he was a Liverpool fan. I'm a Manchester City. And the last time I communicated with him was I was actually been to watch Manchester City.
Okay.
And play Liverpool.
Okay.
And I just come out of the game and was texting each other, had a phone conversation, and that was it. And then 2 weeks later, I get that phone call. So I went to his funeral, and he had a fantastic send off. And I shouldn't really say that about funerals, but all my military mates are there. There's serving personnel there. There's a big military presence and some of my mates there. He had a big family, proper loving family, and he had a fantastic send off.
How old was he?
I think he's about 42. Okay. And he had a fantastic send off. And when I left, that funeral hurt me a lot more than what I thought it would.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'll say it anyway, but I wasn't just grieving for him. But what it made me do was, it made me look at do you know when you buy a car and no one's got one? And then as soon as you get one, you see everyone driving it.
Yeah.
Well, that happened with me with that funeral. So then I started seeing more of a suicide rate on social media. With veterans, taking all life, people leaving the armed forces, taking all life. It was coming up all the time on Facebook. I actually took myself off Facebook for it. And then what I started doing is looking at the homeless veterans. So I was doing the research at home, and I started looking at how many veterans end up living on the streets, veterans that are being found dead, because they're not living on the streets.
It's not something that many people know about.
No, and then I started looking at the unemployment rate amongst the veterans. How many ex-military personnel end up in prison. And the more I looked into it, and I was looking at that, I thought, this is a bit of a class thing, this. Right, and the reason why I say that is because 9 times out of 10, that's someone who come from a council estate who ends
Yeah.
up on the streets, who ends up in prison.
So there are certain type who within the army.
Armed forces. Well, and I say this because when you walk down the road and you see a homeless veteran who, and you see him there with a placard.
Yes, you do.
Right?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, that's not going to be someone who's had a good upbringing, been educated, probably been an officer. So
Yeah.
they've been to Sandhurst or they've been to like the equivalent of the Royal Air Force or the Navy's officer training. It's not going to be some of them. It's going to be someone who comes from a council estate, probably less academic, left the armed forces without a trade, so that they struggle to get into into a job.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're a skilled worker. They're not academic. They're not going to walk into the police because they're not going to,
They have to do the exams.
They haven't got the requirements to pass it.
Mm.
So I just thought to myself, well, I am one of them people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when I did
So
leave,
you related to them.
I related to it.
Your
Yes.
own circumstances.
I related to it. And I just thought, well, I come out the other end, and I class me, like I said, I class myself lucky. But I thought to myself, well, when I left prison, I rebuilt my life.
Yeah.
Using a HGV license, right? And I look at a HGV license that's the fastest way you can get someone to earn a decent wage. So I can train someone in 6 weeks and get them on a job on like 38, 45 grand a year. My daughter's a school teacher. She'd done 6 years for further education. She'd done an English degree, which was 3 years. She'd done a PGC, which is a year, so that's 4 years at university. She'd done 2 years A-level, so that's 6 years for her education. When she first started her job, she only started on 26 grand a year.
Yeah.
I'm getting people in 6 weeks starting on 38 grand a year.
So you're saying the school profession's very underpaid.
Very. But it's a long way to get there.
Yeah,
and
it is a long way.
And
the responsibility is enormous.
they get debt.
Yeah.
They got a student loan.
Yeah.
Right? I'm getting people trained up in 6 weeks, no loan. But what I'm trying to say is
You're giving people an opportunity because that's a quick way to get yourself back into
100%.
society. Yeah.
We all need money.
Yeah.
And I've took homeless veterans and I've turned around and said to them, why are you sleeping on the streets when I can get you paid for sleeping in the back of a truck?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I decided that's what I want to do. I want to use my experiences of what I've been through, and I wanted to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I'd never done a driver training school before, but when I bought a truck, it cost me $5 grand, and I named after Jamie.
Oh, okay.
So I got his mum up, named after Jamie Doyle,
Yeah.
and I just started from there. I was still doing my 4-on-4 off as a tanker driver. I had a friend who was got 20 years experience as a HGV instructor.
Okay. I was going to say to you, where'd you get the instructor from?
So when I got my friend, someone that I knew from when I was young, he was older than me, but I knew him, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he helped me. Without him, I wouldn't know what
it wouldn't have worked. Yeah.
So he came on, he helped me, and he's called Piker, right? That's his nickname. He's not a
Pike either.
no,
Yeah.
but his surname's Pike, right?
Yeah.
But he helped me, and he played a major part, because he got so much. He had 20 odd years experience as a HCV instructor, and he guided me.
And was he in a position where he could basically give people their HGV? He could sign it off. He could train them.
No, he could train them. So he started doing the training.
And then they would go to a centre for their
pass
test.
the test, yes. So because he had all his credentials,
Yeah.
he helped me at the beginning, and he was training people going out.
So how did you go about getting these people in to train them and change their lives?
I'd reach out to all the different going to the supported accommodations. I'd go and speak to the network of the ex-military personnel who were struggling, and there's thousands of them, and I just started getting them through the medical, put them through the HGV license, changing their license.
How was you supporting this financially?
So I put in for a Veterans Foundation. Then I got some money off the Office of Veterans Affairs, and I was putting in for bids because we started off as a CIC. I was putting in for different bits of bids and grants, and we was getting it. And then we turned into a CIO, so become a registered charity. But at the beginning, that's how we done it. So my first grant that I got was from the Veterans Foundation, of £30,000. But
that's really good, isn't it? They actually did give you some support at that stage.
Give me some support. So I got Batter, who used to serve with. He was a major at the time. He got involved. Janice Gurner was the first transgender in the Royal Navy. She got involved. So my daughter, she helped me. So there's like, it's people who want
You're
to
creating a team now, people
Yeah.
who are supportive.
We was creating a team.
Yeah.
I was still working a 4-on-4 off as a fuel tanker.
You're still working yourself at this stage.
Yeah, I'm still working.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a second vehicle, no Class 1 vehicle. We named it after Fusilier Lee Rigby. Like I said, I come from the same cow state. My dad knew his mum, so I got my dad to reach out to Lynn, and we named the second vehicle after him. And it was just getting different people in who believed in our mission, believing that there shouldn't be homeless veterans on the street, believing that we should retrain these people that have served our country, and we just started having an impact straight away.
So how many people leave the army every year?
They said it's approximately 15,000.
And of them, how many do you think are in that position?
Say probably about 3,000-4,000.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And the sad thing is, this is a sad thing, right? That people don't know, right? So, say you serve 6 years and over in the military, right? You have this funding that's supposed to help you to train into a new career, right? But what they do is they put an educational barrier before it, so that it's called Learning Level Credit 3. So in 2021, I found out that you couldn't use this funding to become a HGV driver.
Because
HGV driving is classed as Learning Credit Level 2, right?
Yeah.
So I sent an email to the former Veterans Minister at the time, Johnny Mercer, and I wrote him an email, and I just said, Johnny, what did I say? I said, dear Veterans Minister, I said, why do the less academic service leavers get discriminated? I said, because you can't use your LCAS funding to become a HGV driver. I said, an HGV driver actually earns more money than a transport manager, because you could use the funding to become a transport manager because it's educational, but you can't use it to become a HGV driver. So I said, it's discrimination. So we got in touch with me. We set up a team call next day.
Okay.
And he said, go on, explain to me. So I explained to him. He went, right, I said, I'll see what I can do. 3 weeks later, I get an email from Whitehall and a MOD main building. I shit myself. They want a team's call with me, right, from some SO1. I didn't even know what an SO1 was, right? But at the time, so I set up the team's call, some posh woman come on, and she said, do you think we should change the policy? So I said, yeah, I do. I said, you're discriminating less academic individuals. I said, you're putting educational barriers in front of them. I said, and that's preventing them from retraining and getting into employment. I said, I'm not being funny. I said, that person wants to go and work in a nail bar, and they have to go to learn how to paint nails. I said, they should be able to use that funding for what they want, it's theirs. Yeah. They've got that through serving their country and the time that they serve. So whatever course they want to do,
should be available to them.
It should be available to them. I said, but what you're actually doing is you're preventing people. But if you look at the grants, so she went, right, okay then. 4 weeks later, get an email saying that the policy's been changed. So you can now use that funding to become
a HGV driver.
Yeah. So they made an exception.
Well, that's fantastic. That's a real achievement, isn't it?
Well,
it's changed. That's changed the system.
Of course, it has. But see, I don't know if it's down to me or if I don't know if it's down to there's HGV driver shortage at the time.
So, either, it doesn't matter, does it?
I highlight it. So about 3 months ago, I get a call from some woman, and I just found out they're at it again. So you can't use your funding to become a mobile crane operator. You can't use your funding to become, like these earth movers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Working on plants.
Yeah.
Working in the construction industry, right? Because they are classed at Learning Credit Level 2. So these are the type of courses that these less academic individuals who leave the armed forces are more suitable to.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're actually discriminating these type of people, preventing from going into employment. But when you think of it, right, I always say this: how many veterans that end up on the street who've got LCAS funding they've not been able to use, right, to retrain and support them into employment? How many of them end up in prison if they've got LCAS funding? How many have end up in supporting accommodation that they can't use their funding because of discrimination?
It don't make any sense,
right?
Does it, at all?
No, and I always say this: if you turn around and say to someone, right, if you can't use your funding because just say we put a criteria. You can only use it if you're white, but you can't use it if you're black, right? That would be called racial discrimination, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Right? So why should we, or why should the government or the Ministry of Defence put educational discrimination in front of these service leavers? And it's wrong. But you think of the bigger picture. So they're putting the barriers, whether it's retention, whether they want to keep people in the military, but they're putting these barriers against these less academic individuals, and just say they do end up in prison. They're costing the taxpayer £40,000-50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right? If they end up in supported accommodation, I think they're charging about £500 per room, a little box room like a prison cell.
Yeah.
These supported accommodations get £500 a week, right? The people that run them, meant to be friendly, they're making a lot of money in the back of veterans, right? Or even worse, that person takes their own life.
Yes.
Because they can't get to employment, right?
Yeah.
They might have saved the money on the LCAS because they've not spent it, right? But is this how we should treat our people who served our country, the less academic individuals?
It doesn't make any sense to me. I would have thought there'd be more encouragement for the people with less education to get them back into work than the higher.
100%. The ones who are higher know that they've got more about them.
Oh.
It's more to support them. Yeah. But I always say this, well, I don't always say it, it's what I've been saying recently. Right, so I was in Parliament a few weeks ago, and I got talking to this officer, and I said, more needs to be done to support these individuals, right, of retraining them and getting them into employment, right? I said, because if you think of it like this, right, say you've got 1,000 service leavers, less academic service leavers that leave the armed forces, who can't use their funding because of the educational discrimination that's put in front of them, right? Say 50% of them either end up in prison,
commit crime,
end up on the streets, right? But just say we end up going into war, and we need to call on these individuals. If they're on the streets, they're drinking.
They're not ready.
If they're in prison, so under national security, for this country, and would it make sense to support these individuals, get them retrained, push them more towards serving in the reserves, support them into employment, so they are fit and able, if we do need them,
to serve.
Because
they're trained.
They're trained. So if you think of it like that, but instead, no, what does this country do? We put barriers so they can't use the funding. We push them into the supported accommodation, so whoever's running them makes a lot of money out of the taxpayer, right? And then they end up in prison. Each one costing us £40,000 a year. The setup is completely wrong, and I just think the government sometimes they need to do more. You know, and it's not that as a country, as a nation, the public are proud of our veterans.
Absolutely.
Right? And I just feel, you know, we get it wrong. The government get it wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, that's why we do all these parades and we celebrate.
But if you think of it like this, right? Not people want to join the military, right? Not many people want to join the military no more. They don't want to defend this country, right? But who wants to defend a country when you see veterans on the street?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think, am I going to join the military? End up like that?
No, they've got to be supported.
So this country goes more. It goes into the Commonwealth. They recruit from abroad, right? They need to recruit more within. Do you know what I mean? But they need to make it more. Well, if you join the military, you get support and employment when you come out. Whether you do 4 years, whether you do 10 years, whether you do 20 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always think this as well, right? I think they should bring national service back, right?
Yeah.
When I say national service, I don't think it should be forced on you. But you know yourself, growing up on a council estate.
Yeah.
Back in the day, people used to get in trouble, right? And when you're in front of that judge used to give you a choice. And the choice would be, go and serve some time in the military or go and serve a prison sentence, right? I think they should bring that back. It would support with the recruitment drive, but you also give that person a choice, right? Whether you want to go and live a criminal lifestyle, or you join the military. That person still has a choice, and I think it could change lives. You know,
it could take people away from that criminality
100%.
in an early stage.
100%.
Also, it could improve our forces.
100%.
And also give people a good education and get them back
100%.
into training.
So some people, like I said, like you go up on a council estate, you've not given it, your upbringing's not been the best. Do you know what I mean? And but sometimes I've had loads of success stories where, when I spoke to people, I didn't join the military, or I got in trouble as a kid, I got a choice. No, the older generation.
Yeah.
Some people have gone on to become like served like 30 odd years in the military.
Yeah.
But some say it's the best thing that happened to them.
But it can be because you can get well educated in there. There's lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
So yeah. So where do you think it's all going to end for you then? What's your next goals? Tell us a little bit about the lottery.
So the lottery sport our mission. So veterans into logistics. Last year we supported children 70, retrained them, got them into employment. We're forming a partnership now with the biggest HGV training provider in the country. So we're going to get 10 more vehicles, liveried up in veterans into logistic colours. That's going to help us have more of an impact, in retraining, whether it's in London, Birmingham, Leicester.
Yeah.
It's going to Scotland, Northern Ireland. It's going to give us a proper national footprint. We're going to help even more.
How many people have you helped so far? Do you know?
Short of 1,000.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. And they're all out working.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you a question. When they've done their training, do you help them find work?
100%.
Yeah.
So to me, training someone is just half the mission.
Yeah.
Right? It's getting them a job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we've got some fantastic partners, national partners. They even put in veterans into logistics on the side of their trucks. Do you know what I mean? I've got some like tracked units, within veterans into logistics colours. Do you know what I mean? And these people and these companies, they believe in what we're doing. They believe that there shouldn't be homeless veterans on the street. They believe that we should do more to serve to help those who served our country, and they support them, giving them employment opportunities. But yeah, veterans into logistics as a brand is just growing. As a charity, but it's the impact that we're having as well.
Yeah.
I'm out there banging the drum.
Yeah, that's good.
Highlighting.
And you've got a voice now because you are going to Whitehall, you are talking to people, and you're getting people on your side, and then people are looking at what you're doing.
Yeah, well, when I first started, I'm a reserved person, me. I couldn't public speak for anything.
Yeah.
But what I've done, I forced myself out there.
Yeah.
When I first started, the BBC got in touch. They made a documentary on us, showing the journey of 2 veterans.
Yeah.
One of the veterans who was in that BBC documentary was ex-Irish Guards, served in Afghanistan. He come out, he had 2 disabled kids, struggled to get a job. We upskilled him, we got him into employment. He is now going to buy a house. He's got a motorbike, he can go on holiday. His missus got a job, he's both unemployed. But he starts a job at like 2 in the morning. He finishes by midday. His missus drops the kids off at school. He picks them up.
So he's taking part in his family, isn't he?
Yeah, so
he's part of it.
Yeah, so because he's got a secure job, he can get a mortgage. Do you know what I mean? And we're having a positive impact.
Well, the good thing is, because I know you're busy and you want to move, but it'd be really good if you could maybe come back and do some podcasts with some of the people that you've been helping.
I can do that.
Because then that way people can see their stories and see how much help you are and support you're doing.
No problem.
Yeah.
There's loads I can bring down.
Yeah. But I'm saying you can get people, I'm sure people be really interested to see their stories, how they've moved on, and the impact you're having, and then people can support it and make people aware of that. You can actually leave the army, get that support. Is there women involved in this?
Yeah, we train women. But I always say employment plays a major part in someone's life, right? So when you think of when COVID kicked in, a lot of people lost their job.
Yeah,
right?
it's massive.
A lot of people started struggling with mental health problems. People that had never been unemployed before, they get anxiety. They start with how they can pay the bills. They started feeling the stress. They started getting depressed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it did play. A lot of people were affected, and the government were pushing out on mental health. Because people suffering. A lot of people taking their own lives.
Yeah.
I work. At the time, I was still a fuel tanker driver. I actually sit. There's a woman on a bridge that I seen ready to jump. And I've seen it all the time. People jumping off bridges. A lot of people committing suicide because they've never been in that situation before. They'd never lost a job. They never knew how to pay the bills. And it was hard times that I was going through. Grateful we come out the other side. But I always say this: how many ex-military personnel may still be alive today if they would have made that would have made that perfect transition into decent employment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because one thing what you do when you leave the military, say you join as a young kid, you become institutionalised a little bit because everything's taken care of you. You've got free healthcare, medical, and you got like a family. And if you leave And you used to go home as well when you go home and leave and they go, oh, he's in the military, people buy you a pint in the pub. Because for a lot of young people, you know...
There's a lot of pride in it.
It's a lot of pride because say you do come from a council estate, you come from nothing. When you start going home and you got a uniform on, people but now they do buy you pints. And so say when you do come out, you lose that identity. Do you know what I mean? And say you don't get a job that you know that you think you was going to get, you feel like a failure.
You're on the way
down,
aren't you?
You're on the way down. Do you know what I mean? And you struggle, you know, and then what happens then is you start missing your mates, your family, that security that you once had with it, being in the military, do you know that? Or being institutionalised. And I always say how many ex-military personnel may still be allowed today if they would have made that perfect transition into employment.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And they're young people.
They are. But more support needs to be done. And I was talking to someone a few weeks ago, and he was telling me in Germany, what they do in Germany, the armed forces, the government actually get them jobs.
Oh.
They work in getting them jobs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think to myself, this should be done in this country. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there should be they make it a lot easier. Years ago, and I always keep saying back in the day, I don't want to sound that old, right? But joining the military used to be a route into the prison service.
Yeah.
Into the fire brigade. Police. That needs to come back.
Yeah. And then I was thinking that actually, why don't they go into these professions anymore? And you're saying, is it more academic that they don't pass the test to go in the police and things like that?
Yes.
So they should basically have a program of getting them ready for that before they leave.
They should. So what they should do is go, right, if you're less academic, it's not going to put you in an educational course. Let's get you a skill. Let's have it so you can access your funding. Let's get you trained up so you can go and work in the construction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what they do, you know. But the way it works is you got CTP, right? CTP is a Career Transition Partnership. That's actually owned by a recruitment company called Reed.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that, right?
Yeah.
But it's owned by a recruitment company called Reed, right?
Yeah.
All they're interested in is the top end people.
Yeah.
So if you're
get in place, make some money.
That's it, right? And also, what they do is if you've got some of your funding, they tell service, go and do this course, go and do that course. They own the courses.
Their courses,
They sell their courses to them.
It's all self-interest.
Right? That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But that's what's being done to people that serve the country, right? They're getting how could I say it? It's wrong what's going on.
Well, they're not getting any support, and they're not getting
no support. They're getting sold. Right, go and train this, you get a job.
Yeah.
So one of my friends went, go and do your NEBOSH. So he went and done his NEBOSH because he was advised by the Career Transition Partnership to go and do their course that they were selling to him. Right.
So we need an independent
100%.
Someone doing that and then taking that military and moving his people on, not a profit-making organisation. Yeah.
So like I said, read a career transition partnership. They're only interested in the top-end people that they can make money on.
Yeah.
They don't care about the less academic individuals.
Yeah.
Why? Because they can't make money on them.
But that's why you're doing what you're doing, Darren, because otherwise they'd be pushing them towards doing their HGVs and things like that. And they're not.
No. But that's what we're doing. We're having an impact.
Yeah, massive impact.
And
it's only going to get better because you're getting a voice. People are starting to recognise it.
Yep.
And we're going to go forward. So you're going to come in, bring some of the people in that you've been dealing with.
Yep.
And then I'm sure people are really interested in their stories as much as we're interested in your story, Darren. Lovely. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
And thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Darren.